I want to speak to the kid or person out there that's too nice, that doesn't know how to say no or doesn't know how to turn people down or is afraid of letting people down. Because that used to be me. I think a lot of times we conflate being a nice guy with being a pushover, when in reality those things can be mutually exclusive. You could be kind and strong and vice versa. I used to prioritize being cordial and cool with everyone, like, you know, you're young, you're a kid, you just want to be friends with everyone. And that's pretty much how everyone knew me. I was just nice to everyone, and I'm sure some of you guys are like that as well. It's funny because I was reading back on some of my senior portraits from high school, and it's just like a bunch of girls talking about how chill and nice I was. And again, being nice isn't necessarily a bad thing until you start being a pushover. Like, you know, you gotta study for a test, and then some girl's like, I really need you right now. And you're like, yeah, sure, I got you. I'm not doing anything right now. And the funniest part about this is, I think I had a thing for one of the girls that gave me a senior portrait, and she was just talking about how sweet and how kind and how chill it was to be around me. And in retrospect, it's like, oh, no wonder why it wasn't mutual. And as I got older, I learned real fast that being that way gets you nowhere. Being too nice, putting people first, like, it doesn't get you anywhere. As a matter of fact, people lose respect for you when you're too accessible, too kind. It is associated with weakness because it sends the subliminal message that you don't care about yourself. The world can be a beautiful place, but it can also be harsh and unforgiving. And the older you get, the more you realize this. Like, time and energy is the only thing we really have. Money comes and goes, materialism loses value, people come and go, and everyone is self-interested and does what's best for themselves. Even your closest friends, your closest family members, everyone does what's in their best interest. Even the most charitable actions, people that go on mission trips, work with charities, even the most selfless people, they're still doing it because it's within their self-interest. It's what they want to do, it's what makes them feel good. And I've often said and believed that your greatest enemy in life will always be yourself, and I still believe that. But in a capitalistic society, the direction the world is moving in, life is a competition and it is a race. Whatever field you're in a competition with those people. If you're a lawyer, right? If you're a software engineer or whatever, you guys are gunning for the same spot and it's gonna be whoever's the most qualified. Like, regardless of what communism or liberalism tries to portray, it is survival of the fittest out here. It's a race to the top. And the sooner you realize this, the more you'll understand how important it is to prioritize yourself. To start saying no more, to start letting people down. And this doesn't have to mean be completely selfish. You can still help others, but not at the cost of yourself if you're not where you want to be. Time is all we got, and life is just made of time, and time stops for none of us. Father Time is undefeated. The world doesn't stop spinning for any of us, so don't slow down for time or the world. Life goes on no matter what, it's only you. And yeah, you got family and friends to help and support you if you're lucky, if you're blessed, but everyone does live their own lives ultimately and do what's in their best interest. And knowing this is one thing, but understanding it is different. I'm 25 right now, and this became more and more clear to me when I was in my early 20s. And I wish I would have known this in my teens, but better late than never, I guess. It's only you, everyone is out for themselves. And the older you get, the faster time goes. Because our perception of time is always changing. When we're young, time goes by slow because we're always just looking for the next fun thing. But as we get older, we gotta make use of every single minute. Like, time waits for none of us. I don't ever wanna blink and wonder where time went because we're already in the second month of 2024. I don't ever want to reach the end of the year and think to myself, wow, I can't believe it's been a year. And it was only until recent years where I really thought to myself, like, damn, a lot's happened this year. Life isn't short, we just have to do more. The world isn't against any one person, but you have to think of it as you against the world. You gotta have your own back and look out for yourself. Cause no one other than God will ever know what's going on in your mind. The things you want, your struggles, friends, family, it doesn't matter. And there's also a lot of things in life that'll steer you the wrong way, as I'm sure you know. I remember when I was first red-pilled, I learned about the truth, or a surface level of the truth of how the world works that flipped my entire ideology. But at the end of the day, you just have to keep it pushing and maneuver through all of it. Put yourself and your life first, only then can you actually do other things. Microcosms of events matter. We think, oh, it doesn't matter if I, don't study these last 3 hours to be a simp and listen to a girl cry about her nonsense. Or it's not gonna matter if I got this one party that I don't really care about, but I'm gonna go to anyways. It won't matter if I go to Coachella this weekend, even though I can't afford it right now. All these little things matter and they add up. We just can't see the forest beyond the trees. Like, literally, cities would have never been built if settlers walked 3 inches to the left. And understanding this kind of scares me because the smallest action could change the entire trajectory of your life. Like, your parents could have never met and you would have never been born if, I don't know, your dad decided to miss coffee that morning and he never ran into your mom. That's basically what I mean. Meaning that something as little as saying yes to a hangout that you don't want to go to could change everything. I think you should be extremely selfish if you're young. To understand that no one is gonna save you, no one's gonna give it to you, you gotta go out there and get everything. We're all in that same boat. Like, don't give your time and energy away just because you're afraid to say no, or you're afraid of letting someone down, because I know there's a lot of people out there just like this. Because that is your life. Time and energy, that is your life. Don't just give it away without a return, because when we're gone, which we all will return to dust eventually, yeah, certain people will be sad, friends, family, but in the long run, it's like, what impact will we have had? It's something I always like to think about. The world is always gonna keep turning, time's gonna keep going. Like, oh, it's only me, and it's only ever going to be me. So why am I just giving away the resources I have for no return? Because I'm afraid to let a person down? Because I'm afraid of how they'll perceive me? Or letting down their perception of me? I think that's what it is for most people. You wanna uphold a certain perception that people have of you, and you never wanna let that down. I don't know, that's a weak excuse, because being there for people isn't a bad thing, especially if it's coming from a genuine place instead of fear. But ultimately realize that there has to be an ROI on everything you do. Like, for example, even something like just hanging out with your friends, that has to have an ROI. Or watching that sports game, that has to have an ROI. How is that gonna serve you? Is that really you putting yourself first? Like, okay, you take a couple hours to relax and recharge and rest up. Or going to the gym, taking up combat sports, going to work, starting a business, whatever. It all has to have a return on investment. And that's a part of putting yourself first. And back then I would have thought this was a selfish mindset, but it's not. Because putting yourself first will put you in a position where you can be selfless to the fullest. But even then, you're still acting in your self-interest, right? We will only ever be ourselves. Time and energy is all we have in life. It's our life force, and we all run out eventually. So you really gotta think about what's important for you and what you stand for and what you wanna create. Like, what's gonna give your existence the most meaning and purpose. And these are all things I came to a realization to in my early 20s. And a lot of times people ask, if you can go back in time, what would you tell yourself? And I think that's what it would be. Put yourself first. Because in the long run, none of this is gonna matter. When you put yourself first, you are telling yourself to do what you love. You are telling yourself to believe in yourself. You putting yourself first is realizing that you can achieve what you put your mind to. Have boundaries and learn how to say no. Listen to your gut and do what you love. And try to care less about the opinions of others and how people perceive you. Just have your own back, because when it really counts, you gotta be there for yourself. You gotta put yourself first and show up for yourself. There's only two ways to learn, the hard way and the harder way. The world isn't against you, but it's definitely you against the world. And time is definitely against you. So you gotta make sure you go as fast as you can and don't ever let it catch up to you for as long as you got. Everyone knows regret has taken so many lives, so put yourself first, leave it all out there. And when the returns come, make sure regret ain't one of them. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this yap session. All these videos I make are reminders for me as well. I'm still young, still a lot I gotta learn. It's gonna be fun, the journey making it to the top. It's exciting, a bit scary, but it wouldn't be worth it otherwise. Anyways, make sure you guys stay true. Talk to you guys real soon.